Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have roll call skills?
Mr. Campion, absent. Mrs. King?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Schuler, absent. Mr. Tinkin?
Here.
Mr. Borbeck?
Here.
Mayor Mechanica?
Here. Please read the Open Public Meeting Act.
Pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice filed in the office of the Borough Clerk, posted on the Borough website and in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Post-Star newspaper, and mailed to those requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with Borough policy.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the February 23rd minutes.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any questions on the agenda? Roll call, please.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Mayor Mechanica?
Yes. I need a motion to approve the February 23rd minutes. That was regular council meeting.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. King?
I'll abstain.
Mr. O'Brien?
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes, I was there.
Mr. Borbeck?
I was there too, yes.
Mayor Mechanica?
Yes, I was present.
Motion passes, sorry.
Is that? Thank you. No presentation at this time. No public hearing at this time. I move right to the public comment section where the public may step forward and speak on any agenda item. Just give your name and address. Agenda item only. Yes.
Yes,
Just name and address.
just step up to the mic. Sure, I have a pretty good loud voice, I really need the mic, but,
You're going to discuss it anyway.
okay. Hold yours. Yes, good evening, Dennis, our mayor, town council. I'm Dennis Owens, I'm at 1207 Wall Road in Spring Lake Heights. Lifelong resident here in the Heights, and I'm here tonight to complain again about the volume of traffic and speeders on Wall Road. I say again because since I returned from Afghanistan in 2003, I have mail correspondence between 3 mayors, which you're the 3rd, and 2 police chiefs concerning this problem. I'm retired now, and I have plenty of time to be watching out the window as I'm doing my final requirements for my master's degree. It's gotten to the point where I'm getting really fed up with this. Day in and day out, there's Wall Road is used as a cut through from Highway 71 to Old Mill to Highway 35, and then the traffic returning from work the same route back to Highway 71. It's not only town residents, but I've seen the fuel distribution trucks, the tankers coming into service, and pretty much the biggest violator, I feel, is the Wall Township buses that come down Wall Road at a high rate of speed. I know they're going more than 35 because when I see them fly by, I step out across the street and look at our one and only digital reader saying 35, 37 miles an hour. Most people ignore it and they just keep on going through. I've noticed the police coverage has not been what it had been prior to this. 10 years ago, we used to always see police cars coming up and down the road. I made mention of this last Wednesday, the 11th, to one of our patrolmen as I was pulled over on Highway 71 for, I don't know what the reason was, it determined. I made mention of it. It just got to that point. So I kind of unloaded on the police officer. I didn't want to be that guy, that complaining retired guy, but I have a grandchild now, and someday I'd like to go with her, ride to the beach, ride bicycles, and on Wall Road, and I dare not do that at this point. A lot of you don't remember, you're younger than me, some of you, you don't remember the O'Neill boy that was struck and killed on Wall Road. I was delivering papers back then, and I remember seeing that. That was quite upsetting. So, if there's anything you can do for this problem, I've mentioned it over and over again, as I said. I've offered some traffic calming measures that I've read about to include speed humps or temporary stop signs, if that can be. There's no stop sign going east and west on the Wall Road. So they have a clear shot, the traffic does.
And buses downhill coming off.
Downhill and then uphill, going towards 35, there is no digital readout machine. There used to be, like Reed Avenue, but that's been removed. But what good is that if you don't have police coverage to enforce it? So that's kind of what we're talking about.
Mrs. King, our police chair, I'm sure she'll, Sheriff?
Yeah.
If you would look into it, Ms. King.
The chief is well aware of.
Yes, Chief's been over my house when I retired, and I came back home to Spring Lake Heights. And he's been over for coffee, and he told me about that you were waiting to receive those digital machines.
Right.
But if there's nobody there to enforce it, it's, oh, okay, that's nice, and then just keep on traveling.
Well, I will speak to him in reference to this. Now, what did the officer do when you told him?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that question. I've seen more police coverage since that day. But I did write it down. I have it in my, excuse me a moment, my notes. I have my handy dandy, I'm retired Army, so I have a knack for doing these accountability and blocking in. But I did note the times that they were there. And, you know, again, I don't want to be the complaining guy, but if you're only there for a half hour and then you're gone, you know, you're only good for that half hour. But if you come at 6 in the morning, I think we have coverage all day, all night. If you come at 6 in the morning, you'll get the preponderance. And if you have a sustained police presence, you'll inculcate that culture of driving. The people that drive on the road will know that there's police coverage and we're serious about posted 25 miles an hour. It's hard to do, but you know,
Well,
30 is good.
I was going to say, most of the time, I think there's one day a week where there's 3 officers on duty, but all the rest of the time, there's only 2 on a shift. And it's kind of difficult to just take one particular street in town and, you know, monitor it almost 24/7. But I do know the chief has been on top of this, and I will see what the result was as of last week when you spoke to the officer.
I forget his name, and I want to commend him also. He did tell me my tail light was out, but it was the middle light, so it's not really a violation with the middle stop light out. And I didn't want to unload on him, but I felt I did, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
It's enough's enough as far as I'm concerned. If there's anything you can do for it, I appreciate it. You know, I'd still like to raise my family here. When I go to sell my house, you know, people will see, whoever comes in with their families will see that it's a well-protected, it's not a busy street as it's been called before.
Okay, all right. I
Thank
will
you.
pass it on to the chief.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all tonight.
No problem.
And Dennis and I just had an experience coming in here. It's unfortunate, you can't have police everywhere at all times. I was driving in, coming to the meeting, and I'm not a real fast driver, so the people behind me must have been getting a little upset. One guy passed two cars right here in front of Borough Hall, passed me and another car behind me, and I'm getting ready to make my left turn. And if I made my left turn, you know, maybe a few seconds before that, that would have been it. He'd have ran right into me. So he passed me right out here. Dennis was behind us, I think, right, Dennis?
Yeah.
You know, do have to be careful, unfortunately. Well, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like, yes? Step forward, give your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Walk, and I live at 8 Rosewood Court in Fairway Mews. And Mr. Basil, who is the president of our board there at Fairway Mews, was here last week. And I guess you discussed the budget. He has given me some questions to ask you about it. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to do that, or if you're okay with me doing that. Okay, all right. The first question is, we know there's going to be an increase in the municipal budget. And can you tell me, if you know or have any idea, what would be the total increase in taxes when you add the school district budget and the county budget for 2015?
Yeah, we want to know those. I'm sorry, we have our, John, maybe you can answer.
John Barrett, PM Consulting. The fact is, tonight, we are not going to be introducing a budget because some of the committee members are out. In addition, we're still working on the final budget that we intend to move forward with. So the tax increase that was discussed at the last meeting might be mitigated from our revised numbers. And secondly, the tax rates are set by the county, so we control the levies. So the amount that we're raising by taxation, so do the county government and the school district. And the reality is that even if we were introducing something, I wouldn't be able to provide you, or the governing body couldn't provide you those increases for the other districts until the levies are certified and then sent to the county to strike up what the rates are. So I would suggest that as you monitor the meetings, and possibly the next meeting might be a budget workshop or probably some advertisement, there will be no discussion before a formal budget is introduced. As far as the municipal levy, we already have had projections as to the average increase as what we had discussed, but that really is not it's a soft number. We're still sharpening the pencil on a lot of numbers right now. So at that point, we'll have what the average impact will be for an average house in Spring Lake Heights. But at that point, we still keep track to what the county and school district.
All right, I understand. Thank you. I have a couple more questions, if you think.
It
Okay.
goes to him.
All right, this is on salary and wages. The budget in 2015 is $2,599,600. The amount paid in 2014 is $2,307,793. This is an increase of approximately 12%. Can you please explain the reason for the large increase given inflation is less than 1%?
Good.
Through the mayor, the contractual negotiations for the contracts of bargaining units that are in place in the government for the municipality right now have annual increases in addition to what are called step increases, longevity increases for certain members of the employment employed here at the borough. So when the final numbers come out, I would offer that we can have a discussion at that point, because the numbers that you're asking about, maybe
They may change.
they're certainly subject to change. And at that point, we can give you the kind of degrees of changes. For instance, if there's a promotion from, say, a sergeant to a captain, just give you an example, that could be more than a 2% raise just for that individual. So when the new numbers come out, I think there'll be some more detail, and those increases will probably be somewhat mitigated as well.
And the new numbers, do you have any idea when they'll come?
Sure. We are, through the mayor, we are currently in a situation where we don't have to introduce our budget by the statutory deadlines because we're in a different type of assessment program in Monmouth County. So I would anticipate within the next 30 days that there will be another budget workshop meeting scheduled. There will be another formal meeting, the governing body, where the formal introduction of the budget will be held. And any changes that we make through the administrator will be detailed until your eyes glaze over, because he goes over each one of those for you. So, and we'll be able to speak to you. And also, I would encourage you, once that happens, after the budget workshop. If you have any specific questions, you can make an appointment to speak with the administrator and get those kind of nailed down numbers for you.
Can I just mention one other thing about I mean, there was also, at least in one of our departments, there was several positions that we had not refilled in 2014 that we hired again for this year. So that total number includes at least one new position, if not two new positions. Yeah, because we were understaffed.
Yeah.
But they were positions that had previously existed, and we just finally got around to correct.
I still have a couple more.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. This is receipts for delinquent taxes. How were the 2015 amounts determined, since there is no amount in collections in 2014?
That specifically is a calculation on the annual financial statement that's been both filed by our statutory deadline of February 10th and is also on file at the Borough. What it takes a look at is we do have a taxes receivable figure on our current fund balance sheet. It takes that figure, times our collection rate, and also looks at how our collections were in the prior year for delinquent taxes, and comes up with a calculation. So that is a calculated number. It's based off a hard number, which is our taxes receivable, and that's pretty much to bring it down to bare bones for you.
All right, okay. And just two more. Okay, and then this is reserves for uncollected taxes. Since the amount of $3,077 is estimated for 2015, what is the real collection experience? Can you tell us that?
Sure. Once again, the annual financial statement, which pulls together all of the records for 2014. We take a look at our tax levies for the county school. We have fire back there in our municipal levy. And we take a look at what the actual cash collections are. I don't have that sheet in front of me. It's in the high 90s, closer to 97, 98. Without having that in front of me, I just can't quote it off the top of it. But once again, if you set up a meeting with us, we'll point to all those figures in the annual financial statement. But it is very high because we have an accelerated tax sale. So that means any delinquency as of the 11th day of the 11th month has to be collected before the end of our fiscal year. If in the event that we had a standard sale, that reserve fund of collected taxes could skyrocket simply based on the amount of taxes that are on the receivables on the balance sheet. So the fact is we have great control. We're rewarding good taxpayers that pay their taxes on time and enforcing the collection of those taxes that might be delinquent. But there are cases like bankruptcy and other issues that would hold us up on the collection of property taxes.
All right, this is the last one. Will the mayor and council have an independent engineering study performed to determine the extent of town assets and their usable lives?
Sorry, did we have a study?
Yeah, or are you planning on having one, or?
For our assets?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure, through the mayor. The professionals that we utilize to ascertain the useful life of our current assets are those folks that run those departments. For instance, our police chief would have an intimate knowledge as to the knowledge on his cars and the useful life of his car. In fact, he's one person who's really gotten a lot out of his vehicle over the years. Public Works Director, who also takes care of the sewer utility. If in the event that there was a need to look at an infrastructure replacement, then we would use our engineers to basically establish the remaining useful life on some of our assets, and then obviously through the bonding process, they would ascertain the useful life of improvements would be 10, 20, 30 years. So there is no, in direct answer to your question, there is no engineer, there's no wasted money here on an independent person saying that car has another year, that truck has another 2 years. We rely on those
You
department heads.
really use in-house then, you're saying?
Correct, because they're the ones that have been, maintained those vehicles over the years.
Okay, all right, I thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no hand, need a motion to close the public comment?
Can I get a motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, we do have two discussion items. I believe the municipal budget's been discussed, unless anyone would have anything they want to add to that. But we're in the, not the initial stage, but we're getting to the stage where we would introduce it. And I believe we're all agreed next meeting that we will have the introduction.
Yeah, as John said, we have 2 council people missing. Our borough administrator is out sick, and there's still some points that we are discussing and trying to save some money for the town, so I think we're not quite ready yet.
Chris wasn't here at our
Yeah.
workshop meeting either, so we need his input as well.
Yeah, absolutely, so.
Sure, so we're all on board with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was some discussion at the workshop meeting that we might introduce it tonight. We don't have consensus yet until we get that point. You'll see it, like John said, within the next 30 days.
And I believe, Mr. McLean, you have something you say about the mitigation plan?
No, it's not the mitigation plan. I can address the interlocal agreement with
On the,
the SMMUA.
yeah. I guess, Janine, did Jay have a report on
You
this?
know what, Mayor, I apologize, I don't have anything here from Jay with regard to that.
That's fine.
There is, in part of the correspondence.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm sure when Jay returns, you'll have it on the next agenda.
There's some other, a revised plan that they're presenting, and I think that was in part of your correspondence today.
Okay. We'll move to the council reports. Mr. O'Brien?
Nothing more to add at this time.
Okay, thank you. Ms. King?
The only thing I have in the information here is a resident that lives over in Fairway Mews, Annette Wishbow, wrote a thank you note to the chief for the expert help and response that she got from 2 of our officers, but did not mention who they were because she didn't give their names. So I just wanted to make mention of that. Otherwise, I don't have anything else.
Mr. Morback?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor, we've begun preliminary planning for the summer recreation program, and I'll be bringing details at future meetings about that.
Okay, and I'm sure everyone's pretty more wrecked to start because of the terrible winter we had. correct?
Yes, we can't wait for the summer.
Okay, thank you. Reports, notices, and correspondence. We had the tax collector's report, police report, municipal court report. Everyone had a chance to look at these? Letter of resignation, we're sorry to hear about Mrs. McKean. I believe it was a health issue. Was that right, Sharon?
I'm not sure on that, I didn't know.
I think it was a health
Yes,
issue.
yes.
We're sad to hear that. We're unfortunate, but we accept the letter of resignation. Spring Lake First Aid Squad would like to install some defibrillators in our public buildings. Now, guys, do they need some kind of
Well, you would have to,
resolution?
you would have to authorize them, because if the correspondence indicates that the municipality is going to need to maintain the defibrillators. And additionally, while I didn't read it in there, my own experience leads me to believe that we're also going to have people coming to train
Correct.
certain designated people to use the defibrillators. So I think before you approve that, you want to check with where they want to put them, and if there are people who are going to be present who are willing to volunteer to be trained, because it doesn't make any sense just to have them sitting there if no one's training,
No one's there.
and if they're not maintained.
They listed the locations, there's 4 of them.
And so I think you need to have someone, have Jay check in with the people, at the locations, if you're going to have people who are willing to be trained to use them.
Okay, so we'll have to do some research on that.
Or otherwise, it seems like a pretty generous offer.
Okay, thank you. And we have the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office correspondent, the revised, the mitigation plan. I see we have Rita down. Did Rita, do you have any information on that?
Yes, what's on the agenda, I guess it didn't come across, it was the hazard mitigation plan, and there should be a letter dated March 2nd, probably in your packets.
Yep.
And they're looking for, I had actually notified the county sheriff that this was on the agenda this evening. They're pushing that this kind of be, this resolution as
It's on the
worded, Oh, okay.
It's on the agenda, yes.
Yeah.
Right, but I guess what I mean is we moved on to report, so it didn't sound like it got discussed.
Well, the resolution's come up.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
does
coming
it?
up. It's
Oh,
coming
okay.
up.
So, all
Number
right, I'm
57.
confused, I'm sorry. Yes, and there were some issues that we had, the Spring Lake Heights had submitted regarding, this is from Joe May, which is our engineer, that we had some recommendations as part of our input to the mitigation, which was some storm sewer modifications along the northern boundaries of Breck Pond, possibly, and these are just, thoughts, installation of living berm to manage higher flood levels associated with the future storm events, and a dredging of Breck Pond in conjunction with reduction of existing sediments in Breck Pond and Black Creek through storm sewer modifications and associated runoff mitigation measures. Sorry, excuse me, one second. Some of these things they write, the writing is so small. As you can see, this was where we fall into what we would call a storm surge and where our level would be. We're at category 1, which is a surge of up to 5 feet. Category 5, you're at, they should write 25, maybe it's 30 feet, category 5, right? So that's where we are. We are also listed for other things. It's a level of, whether it be tornado would be unlikely. Ours are mainly, drought could be likely, hurricanes, very likely, and it assesses all the risk. So they would like us to, as I said, the wording was in the resolution as it is, was approved by FEMA and New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, and the directive was that to have it as such. I didn't know if there was any questions about how the resolution was written. That was.
Well, it was in the council's packet, so I'm sure if anybody has any questions, they'll.
Yeah, but in the letter from the sheriff, it says not to change he's requesting that we don't change anything because it's been approved by FEMA,
Right.
correct?
Right, but I was just wondering if you had any questions about, things we had submitted regarding, our mitigation and our risk, what categories we might fall in.
I mean, I will have a question when we get to this resolution.
Okay.
Well, if you want to ask her now.
Well, I mean, and I guess, Gary, I'm gonna direct it to you. In part 2, it says the Borough of Spring Lake Heights departments identified in the plan are hereby directed to pursue implementation of the recommended high priority activities that are assigned to their departments. What are we signing up for if we pass this resolution?
Well, I didn't have any part in drafting the resolution.
No, I know you didn't.
I haven't seen the plan, so I guess that's the real question. What is the plan requiring of the municipality? And whether or not it's something that requires anything extraordinary or not, which is.
The plan was that statement that I was reading for some time to go online and review where comments could have been submitted and the documents that we submitted, and then the final draft plan update was published. That I once again was reading and have it all posted out there. It's a very large document, it's for over 300 pages, and then it has numerous, supporting documents that go with it. However, the Borough of Spring Lake Heights did sign a letter of intent, which is dated July 25th, 2012, and is prepared as a statement of authority advising, and we had always participated in this, and this was our letter of intent. So in other words, if it isn't approved, any grant funding that you may have gotten would be jeopardized.
Yeah, I mean, number 3, does allow us somewhere out of it. Okay.
Mr. Tinkin, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Reed. We have a letter. Yes, from the mosquitoes. Okay. I just got bit by them. We got the letter from the mosquito commission.
Mayor, pardon the interruption,
Yeah.
that letter on the reverse of that is like a sample resolution that if we council so desired to participate in that, that resolution would go on next month's next meeting.
For the
For mosquito control?
mosquito
Right.
control?
Basically, I think it's mostly aerial coverage or aerial spraying.
Hold on.
And they're supposed to notify the police department too. And they're gonna do that.
Okay, so, you say we need a resolution for
Right, if you so desired, we would put this on for our, whatever our next meeting
Next
date is, which is.
April
April
13th. Let's see, Monmouth County, Monmouth County Division of Planning Office Community Development Notice for the block grant program. We have that notification, notice announced. Board Children Freehold resolution supporting our law enforcement officers. Everyone saw that?
And the same thing would apply to that. If you wanted to, at our next meeting, we would put that as resolution on the agenda.
Okay, and that was for the law enforcement?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Can you do that?
Maybe you want to do both,
Yes.
mosquito and,
Yes.
okay.
And the final one was the Wall Township Planning Board notice for DeSapio Real Estate Development on the highway. We don't have any ordinance introduction at this time, but we do have some resolutions we have to vote. First resolution, BR 2015-54, appointing Kevin Thompson as our recycling coordinator, and that term would expire in December 2015. Do we have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any questions? Roll call, Jay? Janine.
You had the right initial, just the wrong name.
Sorry.
Better look at it then.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yeah, this, we previously had done this in-house, and it was a lot more expensive, and we're getting Kevin Thompson for $1,000 for a year, so I think it's a good deal, so yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Borben.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-45, authorizing additional temporary budget appropriation for the 2015 municipal budget.
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Do we have any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Borben.
Yes.
Thank you.
Passes.
Resolution R 2015-56, authorizing the execution of the interlocal between Southeast Monmouth Utility and for the installation of water meter reading antennas on our storage tank.
Can I ask a question about this one?
Yes, sir.
This is, I don't know, because Jay's not here, but I think this is about, we currently have our own antenna, right, on the water tower.
Right.
And we're entering an interlocal agreement so that, because other towns are gonna use the same water
We
reading
use the same
system.
system, the metering system, so we are giving the meters over to the SMMUA.
So they're running
So
the
they're going
antennas
to be in
as opposed
charge
to
of
us.
maintaining it and the future cost with involved with it.
Yeah, essentially, if you
Okay.
take a look at, the resolution, what's going to happen is they're gonna have the ability to put an antenna on the water tank, and they'll use that to monitor. They're going to take over the control of the hardware to read the meters there, and also, I assume, establish similar locations elsewhere, and then they'll reimburse the municipality for the things that they take over.
Okay, yeah, Jay was saying that I remember, we have our own servers that sort of manage this,
Yes.
and now they're gonna be managing that.
I don't
So
know
there
if
may
it-
be some
I don't know
cost
if it's to
savings,
that
but-
extent, but I know there are some
Okay.
things they're gonna take over, and again, it's in the resolution, and they'll reimburse the town
Okay,
for those things that they're taking over.
that answers my question. Thanks.
Any other question? Roll call, Judy?
You need a
You need a
motion.
motion and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion and second.
Now I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Uh,
Second.
You remember.
Now I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-57, adopting the Monmouth County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. Need a motion and a second?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
And do we have any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeses, thank you.
Resolution R 2015-58, approving the use of the community center.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Do we have any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Tinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-59, approving the use of Ocean Road Park tennis courts.
It's for the school, I'll make that motion.
For
Second.
school.
I'll make that motion.
Any question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr.
April 13th. Anybody have any other comments to make? If not, need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
I'll do like a separate thing. Well, you know what, you wanna email me? Sure.